Welcome, everyone, to the September 10th, 2018 meeting of the Southwestern Vermont Career Development Center Regional Board. Any public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on. Consent agenda. We have the minutes for the regional meeting on Monday, August 13th, 2018. May I have a motion?
I'll move
please?
them.
Second.
Moved by Fran and seconded by Ken.
Okay. You saying which one? Oh, we got.
Any discussion?
Oh, just. No.
John, I'm sorry. They kept saying, what the heck is wrong with me? Apologies. Motion by Fran, second by John. Any discussion? Seeing none, all raise your right hand. Looks like unanimous. Go back. Okay, payroll warrants, number 6, number 1007, number 1008, number 8, and number 1010. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Fran, second by Ken this time. Any discussion?
Nope.
Seeing none, please raise your right hand. Approve? I believe it's unanimous. Vendor warrants, number 1009 and number 1011. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Fran motion, Leanne second. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. In the Dropbox, there should be a cash flow and revenue and expense reports. Did we have any committee or any committees here in the last month or two?
At a pre-committee meeting, but,
What is that?
well, before
What
we.
is a pre-committee?
Before,
Boy.
well, I'm gonna tell you what that is, but I thought it would be prudent to say to the public as to why we're able to go so fast in the information that we have. When we have the information prepared since we got out of school and it's in the Dropbox, all of us that had an opportunity to take the time to read all the information before we come to the meeting. If we had pending questions, we may get them addressed before we get here, make a note of them so that when we assemble as a board, we're able to move along fairly swiftly.
Thank you,
So,
Dan.
now,
We receive it on Thursday too, previous to the meeting, so we have 5 days.
right. And so now, what Rick has is, were there any subcommittee meetings? Yes, we had a pre-committee, and when I say we have a pre-policy committee, normally what I do when we have policy committees is have a meeting to discuss what it is that we need to have on the policy committee and how we're going to manage that. I mean, I do that at SVSU because it's a much larger organization. Bruce and I occasionally met on the phone to say, this is what we need to have for a committee meeting, and that's a pre-committee meeting.
Gotcha.
So that when we have the committee meeting, the members and interesting parties are able to come and be prepared to ask questions about what it is that we decided to discuss at that particular time. And that's, so we have not had a meeting, but we had a pre-committee. And in that meeting, one of the things that we discussed was, how do we get the board members to be able to actually come to that, set up a time, because the times that, certain times a year, 2 of the committee meetings, we can't make any of the meetings, and we're saying, well, is there someone else out here that would love to take over the policy committee meetings so that we wouldn't have to worry about missing a scheduled meeting if we scheduled one at a certain time of the year because we have other job obligations at the time that we try to meet. And then we moved the meeting, our regular meeting up here to 6 o'clock, which makes it very difficult for me because of my sports official arena having to get out and run from another town to try to just get here instead of 7 o'clock was easy, but now 6 o'clock is difficult. So I'm asking for someone to step up and say, you know, I can run that. If not, we'll have to, you know, set things up where we wouldn't be meeting on a regular basis. And I think policy is one of those things that we really need to be meeting to review the policies in a regular interval and have the discussion so that everybody will know what's actually in there and what we stand for in terms of this board, because that's one of the most single important things that the board have is its policies. So that's what we discussed, that we'll bring that up here and see if we get any leeway.
Okay, Leon, I thank you for bringing that up. I'm in agreement with you. I think there has to be more people interested in the policy meeting. As chairman, I'm supposed to try to get to every meeting. I think I've done a pretty good job of that. And I do find it interesting. I think everybody ought to at least try to get to the meeting once or twice to see how interesting it is. So hopefully it didn't fall on deaf ears. And hopefully I won't hear about a pre-meeting next week. So, no committee reports I'm aware of. I'm sure that we'll start picking up the pace now that we're into the school year. Action items. Mr. Lauer will tell us about field trip and a nomination.
You have 2 action items in your Dropbox. The first is a field trip. It is an overnight field trip to New York City with our law enforcement program, the Year 2 program, to the Coast Guard base and the Port Authority down in New York City. One of the students that is in the law enforcement program, his father is heavily connected with the Coast Guard and has access to the New York Port Authority, and has promised quite a trip for those students. So I'm asking that you approve this overnight field trip for October 18th and 19th to New York City.
Do I have a motion?
Now move it.
Second.
Franny motion, Leanne second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all raise your right hand, please. It's unanimous.
The next action item in your Dropbox is a nomination, as we talked about last month, for a new position for an additional paraprofessional here at the center. In the Dropbox is a nomination for Martin Munoz. You can see he's experienced there. He's currently been with Friends of the Sun since 2004 and attended Modesto Junior College in 2002 to 2004. There were 13 applicants received, and 3 were interviewed. You can see the interview committee there, which involved a couple of our administrators as well as all of our paraprofessionals. And they're recommending Martin Munoz to the position of paraeducator, starting effective October 2nd.
Yeah, move it.
Second.
Leanne moved it, Fran seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Now, we've got the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. We are at our first board meeting since the start of school, which I was reflecting today, and I can't believe we were here a month ago saying school's going to start, and school has now started, and we're in full swing. So here we are. First of all, I'd like to give the board report on adult education. We are continuing a collaboration with K&E Plastics, Hale Mountain Research, Command, and Mac Molding to offer a CNC course to meet the needs of their company. The CNC technician course that we started is winding down. On October 2nd, we will begin a CNC Operator Level 1 beginner's course. It's a great course if you want to work in the CNC field. Our instructor, Adam, is teaching the course. For those that are listening tonight, the course will run on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 8. And tuition is $231. There are 12 seats available in it, and it's open to the public. This last round we had was customized for business and industry and was fairly full. So if you're listening at home, look on our website as well. Again, October 2nd, it'll start CNC Operator Level 1. Our LNA fall cohort just started. We've had an average of 8 to 10 students per cohort, and the LNA program continues to be strong and full. This past year, students from our medical professions program actually participated in the last cohort in the evening and enjoyed it quite a bit. They committed to it and did a great job. Also, we are pairing with Mac Molding and Jackie Goodell for a SolidWorks class. Jackie's been an adult instructor in our program for years, and she'll be working with Mac with SolidWorks here at the school. On August 27th and 28th, teachers' first day back here at the school, we had 2 days of fairly robust professional development with our school consultant, Linda Jackson, who you've heard me speak of many times. The topics included developing effective lesson plans, curriculum mapping, classroom management, and assessment. And those topics were driven out of our NEASC report for recommendations such as standardizing curriculum, center-wide standards, daily learning goals, and school-wide learning expectations. So we're picking away a little bit at the recommendations and customizing our professional development around that. The teachers really enjoyed the 2 days. They had a lot of good feedback with Linda. Some of the work is still over here on the wall, and there were 2 very good days with good feedback. We also had a presentation from the Bennington Police Department to our faculty and staff for the afternoon one day regarding drugs in our community and signs of impairment in the classroom and things to look for with vaping devices and also all those things that we're seeing here in school and how to recognize that. So also very good feedback from that, and I'd like to thank the Bennington Police Department for doing that for us. This year also we've started some new initiatives at the school with NEASC in mind. The first time the district has purchased a subscription to what's called Planbook EDU. There's a digital lesson planner that all teachers are submitting digital lesson plans on Fridays for the following week in a common format that we agreed upon during our professional development days. And it's not that teachers weren't doing lesson plans, that's not what I wanted them to hear. It's that they're doing common lesson planning in a common format in a digital form. And this is our second week of doing it, and it's amazing for me to be able to see what's going on in a class at any time and what's being taught that week versus walking in and learning, oh, we're learning about this week or that. Be able to see the week's plan from an administrator's point of view about what we're doing. And it's been received very well. Plan books are populated in, and it's great. So that is something new we started this year. Also, if you've not heard of it, the district also this year has signed up for a new parent and student and teacher communication tool called Remind. It's been around for a while. What we purchased a district subscription. And what Remind, it's an app, a mobile app that teachers, students, and parents can sign up for with a simple text message. And it allows teachers to create an online communication portal with parents and students, and they don't have to know their phone number, their email address, anything. It connects them all together. And teachers are using that fairly widely already. And I can see reminding folks to bring in their paperwork for the next day. Don't forget to cover the books. We need this for tomorrow in class. One instructor said, I won't say who it was, said, I love this app because I was using it last night to remind kids tomorrow to bring their paperwork. And for the first time in all the years I've taught here, everyone brought their paperwork to school today. So it's already being used. You'll see some links on our Facebook page, and as time goes on, as more people sign up for it. As of today, we've only been in school a week and a half. We have 191 people signed up for the Remind app. That's quite a bit. That's mostly students at this point, but there are a few parents in there. So look forward to communications from the instructors on the Remind app. Another initiative that we've started this year, which is new, is a 4-week rotation in financial literacy. We have identified that a lot of our students really don't have a good understanding of basic financial literacy. And all the teachers we ask, it's the same thing. Students today don't have a good idea of financial literacy. And so this summer, I met with Becky Tattersall, our business instructor, and we mapped out what it would look like to give 4 hours, 8 hours of instruction to all of our Year 2 students in financial literacy. And so we mapped it out. where on every Wednesday for 4 weeks, a series of programs will be going through financial literacy workshops with Becky in our programs to cover paychecks and what they involve, car loans, interest rates and credit cards, and basic banking. And it's a pilot initiative this year. And while we don't think 4 hours is quite enough, it's not been scheduled into this year's schedule, so we're doing it as a trial basis, and I think it's going to go off very well. Coupled with that, we are also piloting a new program this year for our second-year students called Paychecks for Success. We talk about modeling the workplace as much as possible here at the CDC. That includes coming to school on time, being here regularly, and what that looks like in the world of work. And so part of our Paychecks for Success, you gotta forgive me, it's hard to say multiple times, is for every day that a student is here on time and in class and scheduled, they will earn $120 in simulated payroll a day. That's an average of $15 per hour on an 8-hour workday. If a student is tardy, they'll only receive $60 pay for that, simulated pay for that day. And if they're absent, there's no, obviously, pay for that day. And what's happening is every 2 weeks, students are going to receive a paycheck, a simulated paycheck, with the appropriate payroll deductions out of it, of what their earnings were for the previous 2 weeks, which is really based on their attendance and timeliness of being to school. They're going to use that paycheck, that simulated paycheck, through the financial literacy workshops with our business management instructor to see what does a paycheck look like and what comes out of it, and what are taxes and what does it mean? You know, when I made $500, why is my paycheck $310? Those types of things. So also with this, there are some incentives that go along with it. So those who are top tier earners, if you will, throughout the school year, will have a chance to cash some of that in for some incentives during the first semester, or they can save it up and wait for the end of the school year for an even better prize, if you will, for attendance. And so last year, to kind of drive this home, out of all of our students last year here at the center, we had 2 students, 2 with perfect attendance, 2 out of 400 and some students. The next category was 1 to say 6 absences, and then 6 to 10. And so our goal with this is to help hopefully create an awareness about what it means to come to work and come to school on time and be here like it would be a job. So also with that paycheck, when quarterly reports go home for progress reports and for grade reports, we're also going to be sending a quarterly earnings statement home with the report card and with the progress report that shows total earnings and what potential earnings were for that work period. And so we met with every year 2 student in our programs. Meg and I did the first 2 days of school and walked us out to all the students, and they seem fairly interested in it. So we're going to run our first payroll this week. We've been in school 2 weeks for those students and what that looks like. So we're excited about it. I think the kids are excited about it. And what I'm most excited about is to see if it helps with an awareness of attendance and being to school on time. Time will only tell on that. I don't know if it will. This is something that I thought of one day. It wasn't necessarily my own idea, but I kind of came across it. Thought, well, how can we do this? And let's give it a whirl. So we're just piloting it with our year 2 students, and that seems manageable for us. There are about 90 year 2 students in our programs, and so that is something that we're doing this year. So I'll answer questions if you have on that or comments, but I'll let you know how it goes. Also, I spoke about it last month and about our new digital sign-in system here at the school. I'm going to end my report tonight once we're done with the board meeting, by showing you the system. It is in place. It is not 100% functional yet. It's about 98% functional, and people are getting used to it. But when you come down to the school, this is for folks who are listening at home, have your license or ID with you, or your state ID. It makes the check-in process a lot quicker. You can simply scan your license into the system, and it will automatically populate your name, date of birth, and register you to log into our system. Prints out a visitor badge, we have a photo on it. When you leave, you just scan it and check out. If you don't have a state-issued ID, you can still enter things in manually, like your name, date of birth. It just takes a little bit longer, that's all. And so we kind of have a mix of both. So we're telling you, bring your license and ID with you. It makes it so much quicker. Students are also signing in there. It's also for students who are tardy, who are late to class or absent. They're checking in there digitally with their, right now, with their own information. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, when they get their student ID cards, to be able to scan those in with the barcodes that are on them to make check-in quicker and easier, and also check-out. It's also a management system for who's leaving the building to go on work-based learning. Takes your photograph, and we can log in and see who's here, when they were here, when they left, etc. So it's going fairly well. It's a little learning curve for everybody. The office is now locked, so if you come to the school, particularly those that are used to coming to the school, don't walk into the office door. We've all done it. So everyone's getting used to carrying their fob with them to get in the office, and we've all run into it at least a dozen times. So we're getting used to it. So that's what I have for my report.
Good report. Go ahead, Lynn.
What, I just happen to be thinking about it, what happens to the information, the login information, and how long is this retained?
So the retention period is, I'm not going to say it's indefinite, but it doesn't disappear. I can't erase it, I can't alter it, and I haven't gotten deep enough into the system yet to see how long do we archive these records, so I can't answer that fully for you tonight, Leon. I know that there is no way to go in and alter it, that's for sure. There are multiple reports that can be pulled from the system. So, for example, in the morning, for students who are tardy, our attendance clerk, she logs into the web portal, and she can see the logins, the time and why, and populates those into the student management system. From a administrator standpoint, we can see at any time who's in the building from our smartphones or from our tablets. In the event of a fire drill emergency, we can see who's in the building and who's supposed to be out of the building. And so it's a little bit of a learning curve for all of us. It's called Identikit. MAU has had it since last year. This is a little bit different version, same vendor, just an updated version of it. And it's going fairly well so far. There's still some blips in it, but I think it'll become old hat in a couple weeks, and everyone will be very used to it.
So the information is not just randomly just sit out?
No, not at all. They're actually very restricted logins to the system of who can access what, and so.
I mean, once we get it on there, I'm saying the access to what happens to that information, we store it, we keep it, it's not sent unless there's something. Correct,
it's stored, so it's an online, it's a web-based service that we as a school subscribe to, and it houses all the information. It doesn't get disseminated to anyone else. It just stays here with the school and it's part of our contract with the company. So it's not going anywhere other than here.
Okay. I have another question.
Sure.
I just realized that what's going on around the state in terms of proficiency-based learning. How does that, I mean, you can get that, if you're not ready for this, for the next meeting, how does that affect the Career Development Center?
I will have to get back to that in the next meeting, Leon, about proficiency-based learning. It's kind of a moving target around the state, and every school is implementing a little bit differently. And so the Cliff Notes version on it is, in career and tech centers, we've been doing that type of learning for a long time through there are proficiencies, we call them competencies. We've been doing it for a long time. The question is, how does it fit into a high school grading system, a proficiency system? And what does it mean to be in our automotive technologies program, and how does that relate to proficiency, perhaps if it's in science or English? And so all those things are still being ironed out, but I will come back next month and give you kind of a more in-depth report. We are at the table with Mount Anthony on proficiency.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yep.
Are we part of that because they're working on it and I wanted to make sure that we didn't
Yes, we
be
haven't.
excluded from a learning point.
No, not at all. We actually have 3 members of the staff that serve on the committee, so.
Okay.
I'd like to interrupt a little bit, just to let you know I'm listening in. Can you hear me?
We can, Jackie.
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. Okay.
I'll let you in there, Jackie. And you mentioned tobacco use and so forth. That's one of the policies that need to be updated to
Yes.
reflect the things that you mentioned.
Current-
Because the
current
new
trends, yes.
current trends are not in there on the tobacco use or tobacco prohibition. It's just that we're growing so fast. So we just worked on some wordings before I got here at the SVSU policy level to address those items that we're having to talk about here.
Great, thank you, Leon.
Yeah. Thanks, that's it for me.
Well, Jackie, we're at the end of the night. We'd like to know if there's anybody has any other information or comments or questions.
Jessica, too, she's online, too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome, Jessica.
Jessica's on there too.
Yes, it was, the only comment I had, I tried to go to meeting and it wouldn't work, so I had to dial in.
Well, you're
So
in.
maybe we could, yes, I know, I'm in. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I'll open it to the floor. Is there anybody that has any other comments, questions? Otherwise, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Randy made the motion.
Second.
Was that
John.
Was that you, Ken, or was that you, John?
John.
Okay. John, second. All in favor? Raise your right hand. Motion.
Why do you want us to raise?